The Rndr token is down 16% over the past week, and this comes following their CEO, Jules Urbach, speaking at the NVIDIA GTC conference, the biggest AI event of the year so far, and showing exactly what the Rndr network has been up to in the AI sector with their new compute clients. Now, speaking of compute clients, we did just officially see two new partners join the Rndr network, which will continue to bolster the AI use cases for this decentralized GPU infrastructure. And in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to break down exactly why these two partnerships are a big deal for Rndr and what I am doing with this altcoin on the pullback. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So we're going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and that's going to be the Rndr token. Now, we've been covering this project on the channel since last year. This is my personal favorite AI altcoin, and we can see here that even after the pullback it has seen over the past week, it is still up 23% on the month, 643% over the past year, and up about 2,200% from its bear market lows at 40 cents, as it currently sits at about $9.30, give or take. Even with the impressive performance, we have seen a nice 30% decline from the all-time highs it put in the mid $13 range. So, we actually tweeted this here. This was back on March 14th. I said I could see a scenario where Rndr pulls back 30% following the NVIDIA GTC conference, shakes out all the weak hands, all while bouncing off previous all-time highs at $8.80, and then basically using that as a level of support and starting the next leg up to $20. Now, we take a look at the updated chart today, which I did share on Twitter, or this would be yesterday when this is going live. So Rndr minus 35% pullback complete, $20 price target next. And yes, I did add on the dip here to my bag. Generally speaking, a previous retest of all-time highs, which, once were resistance, and backtesting it as support is a pretty bullish move in my opinion. And given how much this thing has run, I think that it makes a lot of sense for this altcoin to pull back, 30 to 35%, shake out the people who think it's going to go lower, and then just validate this here as an area of support and just continue to chug along higher. I think that we've been in up-only mode for quite a while, and people have forgotten that just as crypto can make these moves to the upside, it can also make them to the downside. 20% pullbacks for Bitcoin are normal in bull markets, and 30 to 40% corrections for altcoins are also normal in a bull market. So definitely something to keep in mind. And I do kind of want to focus on the news now. We'll talk about the price a little bit more at the beginning of the video, at the end of the video. And before we actually get into the news, I do also want to mention LIMEWIRE. This has been another one of the AI altcoins that I have been talking about on the channel. This is kind of like my small cap AI play. It's got an 84 million market cap. It's up about 82% over the past 7 days. And we can see here that it did kind of see this dip the rest of the crypto market saw. It pulled back from about $1.58 down to $1.19, but it did pretty quickly snap back up here, and it's sitting at $1.39. I did also add to this position as well, as we have seen the broader markets pull back. And this is kind of like my small cap AI play, but I do still have Rndr as my core AI play, the big one for me. And I do believe that this will kind of remain like the biggest AI altcoin on the market. They just have such a big advantage in terms of their GPU infrastructure and kind of the transition. They've gone from just offering this GPU power for content creation to also offering it now for machine learning tasks, which does in fact make this an AI altcoin. Okay, there are some altcoins, and some projects that are trying to brand themselves as AI and kind of join the bandwagon, but not actually having anything to do with artificial intelligence. That is not the case in terms of the Rndr network. Network. This is their decentralized GPU rendering platform, essentially offering a blockchain marketplace for idle GPU compute. Initially was only for content creation, and I believe it was RNP 004, if I'm not mistaken. This was the actual proposal that kind of allowed them to move into offering the Rndr network for machine learning tasks and, for compute clients here. So looking to actually offer this GPU power for AI purposes. And since then, they have been onboarding a ton of partners here in the AI sector who are utilizing the Rndr network. And we have just officially seen them actually onboard 2 new partners here as compute clients, Prime Intellect and Exabits. So these proposals went live in late March, and as of the time of this recording, just about an hour ago, these 2 proposals officially passed, meaning that they will be onboarded here and partnering up with Rndr. So we're going to break down what Prime Intellect and Exabits are doing and why I think they are going to be very beneficial to the Rndr network ecosystem. So the goal of Prime Intellect is to commoditize AI compute and intelligence. To achieve this, they aggregate all GPU supply from decentralized and centralized clouds, therefore surpassing limitations of traditional computing infrastructure using distributed low communication training approaches to offer multi-node training on demand across more cost-effective providers and spot instances. Now, on the AI model side, they are crafting a novel and sustainable funding model for open source AI, making models and data licenses investable with compute. And by integrating with the Rndr network, Prime Intellect seeks to maximize utilization rates of idling compute resources of Rndr nodes and their revenue by plugging them into the marketplace. So they talk about the motivation behind it, basically high costs, market inefficiencies, and challenges. So the big thing right now is that the demand for AI is pretty much in that exponential growth phase, but the supply is the big bottleneck at the moment. And that's what the Rndr network is looking to solve with their decentralized GPU fleet. So this integration with Rndr would not only complement existing compute clients by improving utilization rates of Rndr nodes, but also just push forward, sort of decentralized training research, decentralized AI compute power. Now, as for RNP 010, so there's going to be no more 00 proposals, so no more James Bond proposals. But for RNP 010, within the swiftly evolving sphere of technological innovation in AI and media, GPUs are the base hardware for transforming how digital content is created and experienced. So, as I said earlier, as the boundaries of innovation are continuously challenged, the demand for GPUs has risen exponentially, and it really has been exposing some market inefficiencies here, adversely affecting costs and accessibility for an indispensable component, kind of driving this era and this technological shift that we are going through, this technological advancement. So Exabits is a decentralized cloud computing network, introducing middleware that accelerates and optimizes GPUs and various layers of the compute stack to alleviate the inefficiencies in the market for complex compute workloads. Rndr, a decentralized GPU marketplace servicing rendering media workloads, has been a recipient of this rise in demand by creating an ecosystem for consumers and GPU owners to basically introduce the benefits of decentralization by offering up that idle GPU power. And really just once again looking to bolster the use cases of the Rndr network. So officially both of these have passed. Both here we have it. So both Prime Intellect and Exabits are partnered up with the Rndr network, and I really think that this big transition they've made from offering that GPU power only for content creation and now moving into AI, which is still in its very early phases. I think this is why we have seen such exponential growth for the sector, for the Rndr network as well. And, if we take a look at the token, I think the chart has definitely kind of reflected the news around this project, okay? The demand for the Rndr network has been going up a lot, and therefore so has the demand for the token. So all of the Rndr jobs, all this GPU power that is offered to clients, for the people that are actually offering up their GPU power, they're getting paid in the Rndr token. They also have the burn mint equilibrium, which is burning a portion of the Rndr for all these transactions. So making sure that the token is actually relevant to the network as well. And then you have all the demand and all the hype behind the AI narrative, which really has been like, just I think the biggest narrative in the market, even the stock market here. Like, take a look at Nvidia. This stock is up from that bottom it put in 2022. The stock is up like 640%. It's got a $2.24 trillion valuation. So a big move on one of the biggest companies in the world. And then you can factor in the crypto narrative as well, that crypto has really had a solid run since the beginning of 2023. And Rndr does sit in the middle of both of these things, AI and crypto. And I think that's why the chart really has just looked like this over the past year and a half, and or year and a quarter at this point. And to be honest, I do expect this to continue and be one of the big kind of themes of the upcoming bull run. That's why I did start covering this project on the channel last year, and I have positioned accordingly. So you can see here, right, if you take a look at this chart, yes, we have seen this pullback, but even if we take a look at the performance over the past month, I mean, this coin is still up like 20-something%, and this was kind of in anticipation of the NVIDIA GTC conference, and now that has subsided. We have seen the broader markets pull back, so not surprised to see that when Bitcoin cools off, that some of the biggest runners are also seeing the biggest cool-offs, but, that's when you have these big movers. You have the massive moves to the upside and the massive moves to the downside. Crypto in general is incredibly volatile. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, I think we've really just been in up-only mode for a little bit too long, and every once in a while the market does like to remind people that this is still crypto. Okay, if it can go up 20% in one day, it can go down 20% as well in a day, and you generally do see multiple 20 to 25% pullbacks in Bitcoin, which does equate to 30+% pullbacks in altcoins. And specifically when it comes to Rndr, I mean, the reason I kind of pointed this out in mid-March on the charts was that we could see like a 30 to 35% decline from the all-time high. It would put us right back at previous all-time highs, which if it is backtested as support and then continues a move to the upside, could really be a bullish thing for this while shaking out all the people that sell on this pullback right here. So, personally to me, this just looks like a healthy pullback after a monster run on this coin. That is why I did take a look at this today and decide to add more. And once again, I am not saying that I get everything right. I get plenty wrong, but to me, this just looked like something that I was keeping my eye on in the event that it did play out, and we did in fact see that pullback here. So really looking to see how Rndr does kind of act now that we are near the 2021 all-time highs. And if we break below it, I mean, that is where we do have the potential for some further downside. If that was to happen, once again, I would be taking a look at the levels below there. But as of right now, 880 is the most important level in my opinion. That is the previous all-time high, which we currently are sitting just above as a level of support. And I mean, between that, the current all-time high, or kind of like this bull run all-time high, sits at about $13.63. So even if it was to make a run off of that level of support right here, back up to the all-time highs we just hit, that's about a 54% upside move, give or take, about 50% from where it sits at the moment. But regardless, I do like validating that all-time high as a level of support, and I definitely am keeping an eye on both the news for this altcoin as well as the chart. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.